Wolverine faces off against one of his biggest threats, another worldly threat, a threat older than time. Let's talk about Wolverine issues 1 through 8 from the latest run by Saladin Ahmed right now. Hello, everyone. Dan here from the Next Issue Podcast. On today's video, originally I was going to just cover issues 1 through 5 of Wolverine because that's what's been collected on the first trade paperback. But I realized that the story doesn't end there. It actually goes all the way through issue number 8, which is also the 400th issue of the Wolverine series. So we're going to talk about that. So let's talk about the creative team before we get into this. This is written by Saladin Ahmed with art and covers by Martin Coccolo, colors by Brian Valenza, letters by Corey Petit. This story follows in the aftermath of the Krakoan era. Wolverine seeks peace in the Canada wilderness, but his quest is shattered when a killer stalks the forest, igniting furies he hoped to bury. Old enemies, including Cyber, Lady Deathstrike, and the Wendigo, resurface, and a new mysterious threat goes after Wolverine's very existence. In the meanwhile, Canada's Department H circles with the intent of controlling Logan, and his only ally, Nightcrawler, who believes there's still good in him, is the only hope that he has to be saved. But also, he has to fight the call of Adamantine. So, what is Adamantine? We'll talk about all that in a second. Yeah, this is a. I had been a little bit deflated by some of the X-Men line after the end of the Krakoan era, but this was definitely a highlight in the current series. Um, as I mentioned, I read the first issue when it originally came out, but then I realized that I want to read it, the story as a whole, because I think I've read some of other Saladin Ahmed's work in the past, and that just felt better to me as an approach. It's also easier to talk about it and easier to understand the story. I'm a big fan of Martin Coccolo, so I was really excited to see him working in the series. He has a very visceral style, very gritty, and it just kind of brings a really cool Wolverine design along with some of his other enemies, including Cyber and Lady Deathstrike and the Wendigo and some of the other characters that we see here. So that all really worked for me. But I think that the story I knew was going to go deeper than just the surface level shenanigans that is like fighting with Department H or these villains. So I wanted to read the whole thing. I did some research and I saw that it actually covers. It goes from issues 1 through issue 8. Issue 8 also wraps up the Wendigo storyline, where Wolverine finds a young Wendigo who he believes can be saved and maybe prevented from eating more people or doing any more destruction. So I think Saladin Ahmed is just really good at blending a lot of these the mythical horror of the Wendigo, the ideas of this classic Wolverine, his bloodlust, his inner conflict, and then all this the enemies always kind of going after him. And like I mentioned, Coccolo's art just like really detailed work, like landscapes, especially when we're in the wilderness in Canada. It just feels that there's a lot of detail and a lot of attention to what's going on, but also manages to deliver an emotional arc, like the facial expressions, but also what you want from a Wolverine book is some really cool fights, and you get that, whether it's just Wolverine on his own or Wolverine teaming up with some of his allies like Laura or Nightcrawler or even just this Wendigo who he meets. So I think overall it's just one of the highlights of this post Krakoan era, from the Ashes era of the X-Men. So I really, really enjoyed this reboot. It was very emotional. It was very cool. Once I started reading, I really wanted to keep going. It was very well paced storytelling. And I think to me, it's weird that they kind of broke it up into 8 issues and then collected 5. And then, like, how are you going to, is the next trade just going to have 3 of them? Uh, Although the 8th issue is an oversized issue because it's anniversary for the 400th story. So it also includes a storyline by Daniel Warren Johnson. And the conclusion of the Wendigo arc as well. So maybe they could do that. But it just I would love to see this more collected all together instead, as just like this adamantine arc, right? This rare metal that is older than Earth. I think Saladin Ahmed really understands the mythology of Wolverine and brings in some of his more interesting villains, including eventually Romulus, because Romulus is always behind everything that is going badly for Logan. So that's really fun. But it's something that you don't really see coming. It doesn't get telegraphed. It just kind of very naturally happens, and you realize that that is the only logical conclusion. But I think what was really cool and a very very big standout of the story is that there's room for more here. Like there's room to keep exploring this. I think they're gonna pivot away from this for a little bit, but I can see this coming back. Maybe Saladin admits got like this a larger arc, kind of in the works, and maybe we'll come back and address the Adamantine in the room in the future. So yeah, I recommend this. Really cool stuff. If you like comics like this, of course, we recently did a review of Wolverine's Revenge, the Jonathan Hickman, Greg Capullo book. You can check out Daredevil by Saladin Ahmed as well, which is very in a very similar vein, similar approach to Daredevil, but there's definitely some different stuff because it's a very different character from Wolverine. I also recommend Immortal Hulk by Al Ewing, which shares a little bit of the kind of horror type of things, and then of course any book by Benjamin Percy. But he did a lot of Wolverine. He did some Sabretooth. So there's a lot of really fun stuff there as well. So if you read this first story from the Wolverine book, let me know what you thought about it down in the comments. Let me know what you think of the current post Krakoa X-Men line books. Which one's your favorite? Which one you stopped reading? Which one you never even checked out? All that stuff in the comments. And as always, thank you for watching, everyone. Remember to share, like, subscribe, hit the bell so you know when we go live. That is most Saturdays, 10 a.m. Central Standard Time. Stay tuned. We have more comic reviews, trailer reactions, TV recaps, all that fun stuff here in the channel. Thanks for watching, everyone. Bye-bye.